of the notebooks that I have brought today, one of the interesting things, if you have the opportunity to go to Virginia and to visit the Jamestown Museum, this is the alembic, the still that comes from Britain and remained after the colony disappears. This is from a dig. This was not made in America. It was found here, but of course was made in Britain and brought with them, primarily because they felt so strongly about distillation. So that look for articles published in the pharmaceutical journals. They have articles from the digs. This is the Spicers and Apothecaries of Norwich, published in the Journal of Pharmacology. If you have access to a university library, these journals are there, so that if you're looking for digs and artifacts, this particular article gave me the layout of the great houses, the church houses, the monasteries, and where the apothecaries were, the stills inside those houses. So that a lot of the work that we're trying to reproduce come from there. So that, let's see, the last thing I'm going to show you out of this book find it quickly. This is an article that was published in Russian, and I've had translated into English. This is a dig in Bulgaria of a 10th century distillation manufacturer. This is an Islamic still factory. They were making stills and shipping them all over Europe. The interesting thing about this, whenever they first dug these up, they thought they dug up hand grenades. What you're looking at is a clay still with a glass alembic on it. This is a rosewater still. They were built to operate in tandem, so that you would be operating 10 to 50 boiling flasks with 10 to 50 receivers simultaneously, because you built a fire. All of them fit into the sand bath together. All of the distillate came off together. You harvested the roses. You ran the material. Rosewater is what I've been producing most recently. Thank you. Because in period, rosewater is an anti-inflammatory. It's used to treat inflammation of the skin, inflammation inside the body. So it's used to treat diarrhea, it's used to treat abscessed teeth, it's used to treat rashes. Anytime you have a fever, you use rosewater. Rosewater is used in cooking, it's used as a cosmetic, it is used medicinally. So that I'm going to pass around a bottle of rosewater that I've made. So that This is rose water that was made in a period still. This was not made in a modern still. It smells entirely different from commercial waters that are available today. You will see the word spagyric on the label. Spagyric means it's an alchemical process. So that you're welcome to take the lid off and smell it. This is from a period recipe using period equipment, so that this is as close to a period material as I think we have available today. I cannot tell you that it smells like what it did in period because I wasn't there, despite what some people think. So that I invite you to smell that. If you are going to do alchemical works, it is important that everything is labeled. You will not remember next week what's in that bottle. So keep labels available, label it clearly, keep a notebook so that you know what you did, so that you can correct your mistakes. The first time I ran this material, it smelled like grass. Anyway, this sucks. I put a lot of work into this, and I've got grass. As it aged, the bouquet became more rose-like. This material was triple distilled. It went through the still 3 times because that's what the period recipe states.
Same still?
Same still. Alchemical process is done in 4 steps, 3 of which are legal in the United States, 1 of which is not legal in the United States. So that collecting sulfur is legal. Removing the essential oil and the water is totally legal. That is the first step in every alchemical process. You take the material and you extract the sulfur. The period text says that once the sulfur is mixed with mercury, it cannot be separated. For a period, that is true. There was no period equipment that you could remove alcohol from an essential oil. I can do that today with modern equipment, but the text says that you can't because they couldn't. The second process is to distill the alcohol, which is totally legal in the United States, Canada, Great Britain, and Europe. Don't let anyone tell you that you can distill alcohol. You cannot. It is totally illegal. We are setting in the middle of the Whiskey Rebellion, the second war fought on this continent after the Revolutionary War. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms will put you in jail. Under the Patriot Act, distillation of alcohol has become a terrorist activity. If you operate a still and distill alcohol, you are operating a clandestine lab. Have you ever read in the newspaper where so-and-so was arrested for operating a clandestine lab? Yeah. So that it is illegal. You can brew, you can make wine. That's totally legal. You cannot distill.
In some states.
In some states, not all states. But the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, a division of the United States Treasury, will put you in prison. So, the second step of alchemical process is illegal. The third step is to remove the salt, so that you use the sulfate extractor. The third step is the drying process, where you end up with the salt of salt. So that salt, in period text dealing with alchemy, is not table salt. They are attempting to define what they see in nature. Alchemists are the beginning of chemistry, biochemistry, pharmacology, biology. They are trying everything. They are distilling everything.